Okay, so over the weekend, myself and Ronan took part in a challenge. Challenge is pretty simple. It was run 4 miles every 4 hours, and you do that for 48 hours. Pretty simple rules. You don't really get kind of a manual or directory of how to do it. You simply get given the objective, which is run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours, and you go from there. So a question I got asked a lot over the weekend was like, why am I doing this? And the reason why myself I did it was to challenge myself. And if we think about it, we live very kind of sheltered lives, and living here in Australia, it's a very sheltered life. And you can get anything you need. You can go down to the shop, you can get yourself a loaf of bread, you can turn on the tap, you get some running water. You've got like house insurance, you've got car insurance, you've got life insurance. Like everything's all taken part of, and I think we kind of lose the ability to be able to really dig deep. And so that's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to kind of push myself to ask myself, like, how deep can I dig when I needed to? I realised it was going to be a physical challenge, and it was also going to be a mental challenge as well. And also, I'm sure we know the state of the world at the moment, there's not really much you can do at a weekend anyway. So a question I asked myself all the way through the weekend when I was struggling on some of these runs was, Ed, what else would you be doing? Like, there's nothing really much else to do. So that's the kind of reason why I kind of took part in the challenge. And I knew the next part was preparation. So anybody who knows me, I like to be super prepared. I like to know as much as I possibly can. So I jumped online. And yeah, something you shouldn't really do. Let's say you need to go to the doctors and you're feeling like your head's a bit sore, your elbow's a bit sore. You should never really jump online, because the advice you probably get is probably not going to be the best advice. And that's the same for this challenge. So if you're looking to take on this challenge, my advice is don't jump online. Don't read any online articles, because I read 2, and to be honest, they were pretty scary. Like people saying it's the worst thing ever, people saying their knees were never the same ever again, and why would anybody do this? So I got halfway through 2 articles and put it to one side, and I saw other people's advice. People knew other people had done it, and people told me just to make sure that you're showering to keep yourself clean, and make sure that you're stretching before and after every single run that you go on, and making sure that you're eating. I was advised that your body is going to try and repel the food, but you've got to make sure that you're keeping your carbohydrates high, and you're getting the right kind of fats, and also the right kind of salt levels in your body as well, because you will be sweating a lot from there. And then I'm sure quite a few of you out there will know of a guy called David Goggins, the next US Marine, and he talks about this challenge. And he does this challenge, I think he does this every year. And one thing he said is, when you think you are done, when you think you've got nothing left to give, you're only at 40%. You've still got another 60% left to go. And that was something that I kind of read into in my preparation. That's definitely something which really helped me. So running into the challenge, I made sure that I made all the food, because I didn't want to be coming back off of running and having to be stood there around the kitchen oven. So make sure that I had all my food prepared. I made sure that I had all my clothes ready. So I had 12 shorts, 12 t-shirts, 12 socks, 12 underpants, and my running trainers ready to go. So when I got up in the middle of the night, I could just put that on straight away. I made sure that I got an area set out so I could stretch with my foam roller and my ball and the yoga mat from there as well. I'm also making sure I had 2 or 3 different runs. I'm definitely somebody who cannot really sit still, and if I see the same like kind of scenery over and over again, I know it's probably going to bore me from there. So make sure we had 2 or 3 different runs, which are pretty straightforward, as flat as possible. I didn't want to be running up any hills or anything like that from there, and that's all the preparation that we had. So kind of how the race works, you start at 8 o'clock, then the next run then is midnight, and then you do 4 o'clock in the morning, then you do 8 o'clock, then you do 12 o'clock lunchtime, and then you do 4 in the afternoon, and then you repeat it all over again, 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I think I've said it all right there. So basically you do 2 lots of 6 runs from there, and that's how kind of the order of proceeding runs. Now, I don't really want to kind of sit here for you guys and go through every single run, but I'll give you some of the kind of standout ones. And obviously we have the first run. So getting ready for that first run on Friday night at 8 o'clock, I got into routine as quick as I possibly could. So I made sure that I had a good stretch before I started out. And once the stretch was done and we kind of set off, there was quite a lot of excitement. And excitement like when you do anything for the first time. I'm sure we remember when we went to school for the first time. Like, you're excited, are you a bit nervous, are you going to get along with other people, what's it going to be like? It was kind of like that when we set off on the first run. And the first run, the pace was quite fast, to be honest, because I think we were excited and I think adrenaline was carrying us through. So we finished that first run, pretty straightforward, guys. It's 4 miles. It's not really that far. You run out to a certain point and you run back again. So I got back in. The routine was then have a shower, stretch, have some food, and then go to sleep. Because surely it's 8 o'clock at night, you're going to go to sleep. That means you have a couple of hours sleep and you wake up at 11:45 ready to go. That's my mindset. That's how I thought it was going to be. But it doesn't work like that. You've just come off the back of a run. Your mind is actively going to be thinking about that run, thinking about the next run and the other 11 to 10 runs to follow. So your mind is so active that you actually can't sleep. So you just lie in bed hoping and trying to sleep. And we all know what it's like when you do that. When you try too hard to sleep, it just won't happen. Next minute the alarm goes and it's time to go again. It's time to get up. It's time to stretch. It's time to go for the run. And the second run at midnight wasn't that bad. It was a different route to the first route, so a different kind of scenery, and it wasn't that bad. Got in and had a shower, stretch, ate some food that my body didn't really want, and once again just lay in bed, just hoping to sleep, and nothing really much happens. And then the 4 o'clock alarm goes off. 4 o'clock. It's pitch black outside. It's nice and warm in bed. Now, them kind of situations, do I just stay in bed and roll over and just think about it? Oh, well, I give it a go, but maybe it wasn't for me. Maybe the people who do it are just like a whole new level of mindset, a whole new level of fitness, maybe next year. Or do I throw myself out of bed? So I think I more rolled out of bed and went into the same routine and we set off on the run. That one was finished and then went to sleep. And I actually got some sleep after that one. I don't think that was a good thing or I don't know if that was a bad thing. Because getting up for that 8 o'clock run, that was one of the toughest times ever. And I said on that run, I can't remember the last time that I was actually still in bed at 7:45 on a Saturday morning. I'm normally out of bed way before that on a Saturday morning, but it was so hard to get out of bed. I woke up a bit late. I only woke up 10 minutes before the start of the run, so I was running a bit behind. I had very little sleep, and the sleep I did have, I was kind of dreaming about actually sleeping for longer. But something that was great about that one is me and Ronan set off together. We're keeping it nice and fun. We're telling each other jokes. I'm sure you see some of the early video clips where we've got some of the jokes. Some might find them funny, some might find them not funny. We're saying hello to everybody running past. We ran past like a bread factory where they're making this bread. It was really cool. And we kind of got that run done. Now, my goal in my head was always to get 6 runs completed. That was my goal. For when I started, I was like, okay, cool. Let's see how quickly we can get 6 runs completed. I don't mean quickly in terms of like the split times I'm having, but let's get to that six run mark. Now, the reason why I wanted to get to 6 as soon as I possibly could is because I knew after 6 I could start working through the numbers. Now, this is how I kind of go about my work, everyday work. This is how I go about when I'm training in the gym myself. I'm always working by numbers. Sometimes you see a big workout and it's like 100 repetitions of this, 50 repetitions of that. Some people might challenge it and try and do the 100 and try and do the 50. What I'll try and do is break it down as much as possible, because once you break something down in your head and it seems easy in your head, well then your body will just follow suit from there. And I also knew once I got 6 runs complete, that's half the task done, that's when the challenge would really begin. I imagine in this challenge, the biggest drop off that people have are between run 6 and run 9, because that's when it starts to hurt. So coming into finishing run 6, this is where my left Achilles heel was really sore, really sore. My left hamstring had blew up because I was changing my run. I was trying to get my stride nice and straight, so it meant that my left hamstring started to blow up. My right kneecap was hurting. It felt like somebody was hitting with a hammer all the way through, and obviously you're going to get some chafing. I had to explain to my girlfriend halfway around the challenge what chafing actually was, but that's never too enjoyable at anybody. But then, to be honest, I knew this is then when the challenge got started, and I actually recorded the video at that point. That was one of the only few videos that I did, and I said, this is where you're going to start to get fun. This is when the challenge is really going to begin. And this is when it gets the darkest, and this is when your body's really suffering, your mindset's really suffering. And I got excited because I know this is when most people actually drop out of the race. Most people decide, okay, cool, that's it, I'm done. And I knew this is a time when I'm pushing myself, and that's the reason why I did the challenge myself, to find out, okay, how far could I push? How far could I push myself physically? How far could I push myself mentally? Because I knew from that point then, it was 6 races left, 5 left, 4 left. When you get to 4, you're like, okay, well there's only 3 more left. I've only got to do one the routes twice and then one the routes one more time, and you get the 3 done. And it's like, okay, well I've only got 2 more left. And coming on to the final, I was like, oh well, that's it, the final one. I just need to make it round as final run. And then that was it. The challenge was completed. And I think there's some really key takeaways to kind of look at this, and I've mentioned the word challenge an awful lot. So thinking about what the challenge actually was. Like, I know a lot of people were working out, okay, well, how many Ks and how many miles, and do that by times 12 and how many days, and people working out, well, it's almost like 2 marathons over 2 days. Like, that is not the challenge. The challenge is not to have the aerobic capacity to be able to do 2 marathons in 2 days. That's not the challenge. Other people asking me, like, how fast was your fastest run, how slow was your slowest run? That's not the challenge. The challenge is not to have the best split times. The challenge is, this race goes on for 48 hours. Can you stay in the race? That's the challenge. The challenge is, can you get yourself into that routine where you get out of bed and you stretch and you put your running gear on and you go for a run and you come back and you shower and you stretch and you try to give your body some food that your body doesn't want, and then you try to have some sleep and you just literally lay there for 2 hours until your alarm goes and you're ready to go again. That's the challenge. The challenge is, can you get yourself out of bed at 12 o'clock or 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning when most of the world is still asleep? Can you get yourself out of bed, put your runners on and go for a run? The challenge is the first K of every race. The race is around about 6.4K, each leg was around about 6.4K. After the first K, it's pretty straightforward. But that first K of every run the pain was a whole new level. Because you just finished a previous run, you've just stretched, you've just rested your body. Your body's thinking, okay, cool, well that's it. I'm not going to have any more damage. And all of a sudden, in 2-3 hours later, you're going on another run. So that's when it feels like every time you put your left foot down, it felt like a dagger going in my Achilles heel. My left hamstring felt like somebody was pinging on guitar strings. My right kneecap felt like somebody's hitting a hammer and trying to knock the kneecap off. Like, can you silence that pain in your head? And the challenge is when 99% of your mind and your brain was asking you, why are you doing this, Ed? There's no reason for you to do this. Just go home. When so many people out there are saying, oh, why are you doing this? This is really silly. Like, you can stop now. You've got nothing to prove. When people are texting saying, hey, why don't you just take it easy? When all that's going on, can you muster up the 1% in your mind to be able to silence everything else? And that was a real challenge that this challenge actually brings to yourself. So kind of looking back now and my kind of final thoughts, there's a quote that you hear, and I've seen this quote a lot. It's all across Instagram, it's all across Facebook, and I thought it was always cheesy and didn't really know what it meant. But the quote, I'm sure you tell me who actually said this, I'm going to give you a rough version of it. And it always talks about, it's not the destination that matters, it's all about the journey. Now, when I've seen that before, I'm like, okay, that is just super, super cheesy. Somebody's just looking to make a cheap quote, get some cheap likes, get some easy followers, whatever it may be. But it's not about the destination, it's all about the journey. So I was asked when I finished all the runs, like, how do you feel? And to be honest, I didn't really feel anything, to be honest. It was just like, okay, like I've completed half marathons before, I've competed in competitions before, we've won trophies before. Like, I felt that adrenaline. I felt that immense sense of, yes, we've worked hard and we've achieved something. Like, on the Sunday night when we finished around about 4:30, like, I didn't really feel any of that. I didn't really feel any of that at all. But it was all about the journey. It was all about them 12 separate runs that I took part in. It's the ability to dig deep. The ability to dig deep when your body's breaking down, your mind's breaking down. It's the ability to just keep on going. It's the ability, as Goggins says, like when you saw, like, you're only 40% there. It's the ability to put a lot of things into perspective. So when I was going out there, my left Achilles was hurting, and it's, oh my God, the pain's really, really high. It was like, well, at least I have one. And when my right knee's really sore, it's like, oh my God, this is so sore. It's like, well, I'm able to put pressure on it. It can't really be that bad. Like, it was the ability to be able to enjoy whatever stage I was in at the moment, to take some amount of joy out of it. Like, it could be worse. We could be on lockdown. I might not be able to be allowed out of the house back then. And I think that's the kind of the final thoughts and the key takeaways that we can take away, and we can bring into our fitness, we can bring into our relationships, we can bring into our work life, which is the ability to dig deep, the ability to put whatever you go through into perspective, and as much as possible, enjoy the current stage that you're at. So that's my insights of 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.